Hey everyone, this is Darrell Evans of the 1984 World Champion Detroit Tigers. My favorite show to be on is the Sports Circus with Big Sal.
You can put it on the board. Yes!
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP.TV. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Angus and Prime Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you try their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, of course, the king of all, those massive cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Biggest steaks and best steaks I've ever had, probably be the best you've ever had as well. Hell, wait till you try those half-pound burgers, those Prime Wagyu burgers. Wow, easily the best I've ever had. Check them out at UppercutChops.com. That's UppercutChops.com. Or give them a call, find out what's for dinner, 702-799-9935, 702-799-9935 for UppercutChops.com. Yes! All right, a big welcome in everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast, all of our independents, from Honolulu all the way down to Southwest Florida, a whole bunch of points in between, right here in Las Vegas, as well as Atlanta, Auburn, Alabama, down in Texas. We're everywhere. You can't get away from us. Also, thanks for joining us. Everybody on Facebook as well. This is a special Friends and Family edition for them. And, of course, those watching on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, and WOW Cable Television. Thanks for joining us, as well as Hotel TV in over 500,000 rooms from coast to coast. We are joined by World Series champion, 40-year baseball veteran, 21 years basically playing the hot corner and playing with some really incredible talent. And, of course, this guy wasn't so bad himself with his 414 home runs, and that would be the great Darrell Evans. Darrell, thanks for joining us here on the Sports Circus today.
Good to see you, Sal. My pleasure.
Always a pleasure. And, you know, we did a press release out on you several months ago as being our baseball insider. And this is a glorious time, of course, for baseball because guess what's going on? We have the playoffs going on, something you know just a little bit about. How many years did you play in the postseason?
Well, I actually played my first year, my rookie year, 69, on Atlanta Braves, but I didn't get into, we lost in 3 games to the Mets, Miracle Mets. But I didn't get into any of those ball games since I was a rookie. But and I had to wait 15 years to get into 84 playoffs and World Series. We, of course, won the World Series, and then 1987 I got to play. In the playoffs, and we got beat by the world champion Minnesota Twins. So I had some experience, and I didn't know if I was ever going to get one after that first year, and it only took me 15 years to get into the second one, but it was certainly worth it. I guess I was kind of prepared.
Yeah, well,
after all that time.
That's a lot of waiting. It's a lot of waiting. But Darrell, talk about the pressure of playoff baseball versus the regular season.
Well, I think it's. I think in a lot of ways, once the first pitch is thrown, it's overblown. If you listen to the media and everybody else and the fans, and I think they think that, of course, it's exciting and you're nervous, but it's what you've been playing for 7 months, 7.5, 8 months and start of spring training, and to get a chance to get in there. It's uplifting more than anything. I think we're all basically positive people. So, yeah, you look around and you ask the guys who've been there before, and they seem calm to you and everything else. They're not. But, you got to go out there and treat it like you do every day. I mean, obviously it's a lot different because of all the focus and the urgency of it. But, boy, it's it should make you better. You're gonna be successful and you're gonna make some mistakes and all that kind of stuff. But every the fans, make it much better. They keep you up. Everything's more important than maybe you would think during a regular season game. But that's probably not true. And so you get to have all these outside things. And I remember, my family was going, "Oh, make sure you get your rest and all that stuff." And I'm thinking, why would I change anything? We're used to playing every day, so that pressure comes, and then it goes away. And then if you lose the first game, that pressure comes where the urgency comes. But man, it is so much fun, and it is so. I think actually the rookies, the guys who've been there the first time, are much more relaxed than you think they are, because they're looking for the guys that have been there before and see how they go about it. And, after you played for a while, you try not to show outside what's going on inside, but sitting in that on-deck circle, coming up your first at bat, you definitely got butterflies and everything else that's going on. But, I mean, it's almost like when you get introduced before the games and all that. So your feet don't even touch the ground after a while. You're just so into it, and it's so much fun. And you try not to make, you enjoy the good stuff, and the bad stuff you overlook it like you do during the season. So the teams that can do that, I think got a chance to play the kind of game they've been playing all year, which is the reward that you played really good to get into the playoffs. So it's an uplifting. It's just a fantastic feeling, and you treasure every moment of it. And I think the outside people, your family and the fans and the press, they don't know what to say or how to feel, and it's not just another game.
Yeah, the moment is so big.
So it's positive stuff.
Right, the moment is so big, and let's take something that happened we saw in the Arizona Diamondbacks game that they played. And you've got the Rookie of the Year, the runaway for the Rookie of the Year, that would be Corbin Carroll. Corbin Carroll's an interesting guy. And I want to call him a kid because they're all younger than me at this point, if you know what I mean, right?
Well, they all. Yeah.
I know, right? And of course, I'm a little bit younger than you too, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, you're a kid to me.
Right. So let's take Corbin Carroll. And this kid, he had the Tommy John surgery, right? And he's a position player. He's an outfielder. And Corbin Carroll was the 5-tool kid. His power numbers dropped after his Tommy John surgery. He still hit 20-odd, almost 30 home runs in a partial season. He stole 50, 60 bases, whatever the hell it is. He hit about 290, high 280s, 290, whatever. Comes into the playoffs, hits a home run, gets on base. He does what he does because that's what he does. But what I love are the players like him, just like we saw that in the Minnesota Twins. You saw, I think, some rookie had a couple of home runs today. The reality is, when you look at these games, you look at these players, and you say, look, these are the best teams playing against the best teams. There's no cupcakes in this, right? Because these are the teams that deserve to be there after 162. So reality is now you've got these good rookies, Rookie of the Year, whatever. You've got these kids, and they're playing at the elite level that they probably always played at, all the way at every level of the game. Take yourself back. Take about 2 minutes, because we've got about 3 minutes to break. Take about 2 minutes and talk about from your early stages coming up from Rookie League all the way up to the confidence level from 1969. Talk about that gap and what did that look like for you from a confidence level, because you knew you could always play the hot corner. But talk a little bit about how you evolved.
Well, I think you're right on there. Obviously, everybody in the major leagues probably was the best player when they were coming up, and even when they got into pro ball. I only played 2 months my first year. Then I went into the Marines, and I got out 6 months the next year, and I came back and played Double-A in June, and for 2 months, and then all of a sudden the next year I get drafted. I get Rule 5 to go over from the Kansas City A's to the Atlanta Braves, and all of a sudden I'm in the major leagues. I didn't have time to doubt myself, I don't think. I mean, I was looking at it as, oh my gosh, I'm going to get to compete against the best people. So you certainly can't be cocky, but you're confident. And then when you step in the batter's box and go, well, it's not that much different. The names on the back kind of scare you and all that kind of stuff. And the people that you're playing with, Hank Aaron and, Clete Boers at third baseman. So when I first came up, so I didn't expect to play all the time. But then by the time you get to the playoffs, what we're talking about, you're not a rookie anymore. You've gone through the ups and downs, and some people, it's hard for them to handle it because they probably hadn't had much negative stuff. So when you get some more negative than you had in the past, but you thrive to get back out there and get a chance. And when you do that, the playoffs become, like I said, you're not a rookie anymore. You're expected, and the rest of the team doesn't treat you any way different because they've already seen how you perform. So you're one of the guys. That's the fun thing. You become one of the guys sooner than later.
That's true.
It's a great stepping. So
that's true. Darrell, in our last 10 seconds of the segment here, that's a very bumpy road. But if you can endure the road, if you have a good set of tires on, you've got some good suspension, some good struts, guess what? If your strut is right, you'll be there the next year. All right, folks, don't go anywhere. Last word to come here on the Sports Circus with World Series champion, that'd be the great Darrell Evans, 414 home runs, a whole mess of RBIs, 21 years in the league as a player, another 20-odd years, whatever. As a coach, this guy's done it all. We're going to be back with him in just a few moments. Don't go anywhere. Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates across North America with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935. Or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
If you'd like to borrow up to $100,000 and get pre-approved in minutes, call the number we'll give you at the end of this commercial. Our lending partners have already loaned millions of dollars to individuals just like you, and we're ready to lend you up to $100,000 if you qualify. Even if your credit is not perfect, you can get flexible, easy-to-pay terms. The consultation to find out if you qualify is free. To find out if you qualify for our special financing program, call this toll-free number 24 hours a day. 800-335-1376. Important terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Loan amount, annual percentage rate, and term will vary depending on creditworthiness. Applying does not guarantee approval. Account approval is subject to verification and confirmation of your credit history and acceptance by a lender. If you choose to apply for a loan through us, a consumer report will be obtained to evaluate your creditworthiness in connection with your application for credit.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UppercutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UppercutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UppercutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UppercutChops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at UppercutChops.com.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP TV. Folks, make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guests, our prior guests, our recorded shows, which are a podcast in full. Find it on your favorite podcast platform, whether it's Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon, Audible, whatever. We're there. We're everywhere. Also, make sure you check out the partners page. One of those partners has been with us since the very beginning is the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's csncoyotes.com for the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Yes! All right, a big welcome back to everybody tuning in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates, including our friends over in Honolulu on CBS Sports 1500 KHKA. That's home of the New York Yankees and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Welcome in everybody that may be tuning in with our friends over in Southern California on NBC and CNBC. That would be 106.5, 102.3 FM, 1050 AM in case you're keeping score. Our friends over there, as well as right here in Las Vegas, KJPT Jackpot Radio and KVGK Radio as well. Regular terrestrial stations, folks, not internet radio, real stuff. All the way over to Auburn, Alabama, WAUD, our friends over there on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network. Thanks for joining us from Montgomery, Alabama, all the way to Columbus, Georgia. Up in Atlanta, WDJY 99.1 FM, WBGY down in Southwest Florida, the beautiful area of Marco Island and Naples. And wow, it's so pretty down there, folks. And listen, welcome into everybody else. In case we missed you, there's a couple hundred stations that may be picking this show up. You never know who's listening, so we just try to acknowledge who's ever out there right now. And also, everybody on television, thanks for joining us on Pick Your Favorite Cable Provider and Hotel TV. Back here with the great Darrell Evans. And Darrell, World Series champion, 40-odd years in the game. Oh, yeah, by the way, an all-star third baseman, knows a little something about hitting home runs, over 400, more like 414. In fact, Darrell, I saw the baseball reference list recently. And, you know, you're in some pretty good company on that leaderboard, right? Right around you. I'm looking at it right here. I've got you here at number 54 all time, right? And it shows that you are right above Alfonso Soriano, Mark Teixeira, Duke Snider, Giancarlo Stanton, who's still playing, striking out quite a bit, Andres Galarraga, Al Kaline, the great Dale Murphy, Joe Carter, a lot of big names there, Johnny Bench. Right, you're ahead of all those guys and a whole bunch more. Even Dwight Evans, not to be confused with Darrell Evans.
Well, yeah, that's, you know, well, when I never retired. They just never gave me another uniform. But when my last year was over, I was 22nd all time. But when I think about that, you know, that was way beyond any dreams or anything. But when you're finished like that, then you realize, you go, wow, that was a pretty good ride. And then, you know, people point out and go, wow, look at who's below you. You know, the guys above you, you know, everybody knows them, but the guys below you, and then in the last 30 years or whatever, I've got passed by, well, which 54. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, you look, I mean, you know, that was and, you know, all the other stuff, and the RBIs and the runs scored and the walks and on base and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, you look back and you go, well, I guess that's why they allowed me to play 21 years. Because I was a pretty productive guy. And so, and, you know, I'm a third baseman. That's in my blood. There's something special about third baseman. Right. I just was recently at a card show in Nashville, and Chipper Jones was there. And I was there with my last year in Atlanta in '89 when he was just coming up. And I hadn't seen him for a long time, and I walked up to him, and he looks at me, he goes, "Mr. Evans, how you doing?" So, you know, you got the kind of respect and all that kind of things, and it brings you back to going, you know what, we have such a great fraternity. And, you know, I told him, I said, hey, man, look at the third base of the Braves have had since Eddie Matthews and Clete Boyer and right. Me, and then Bob Horner, and then Pendleton and Chipper, and now the guy that's over there now. It's a fraternity that way, and you're kind of competing. When I was playing, you know, if I was playing the Phillies, I was trying to be better than Mike Schmidt that day, and that's a pretty good goal to have and a possibility. And sometimes I was. So, you always have that incentive every day you go out there and play. And then when things add up like that, while you're going through them, it's, you enjoy them. It's great and it's fun and everything else. And then later on now I can enjoy them even more.
Well,
and I was blessed, and I was never on the disabled list. So I was lucky to stay healthy enough to be out there every day.
Darrell, if people don't know of your power numbers, they don't know what you've done. They say, hey, the guy had a great glove. Well, what they don't realize, out of those 414 home runs, you took Tom Seaver deep 8 times. Phil Niekro 6 times. Bert Hooton 7 times. Bert Blyleven, arguably the best curveball I've ever seen, 5 times. And then there's a slew of others. It just goes on. Even the great Steve Carlton took him out of the yard 4 times. And on we go.
Yeah, well, that goes back to what we were talking about when you first get there. It's your baseball cards. It's the guys you watch, or the ones that just a little bit to see your same age, but you don't know them. And then all of a sudden, it's like you got to pretend like it's not Tom Seaver really pitching. It's not. You can't, because you can't, like I said, you can't take it like that and go, well, I got no chance against this guy. And my first home run was off of Bob Gibson. So that was, it was like, well, if I can hit him, I guess I got a chance against these other guys. And the great thing about it is after you play for a while, and you get the respect from the other pitchers, no matter who they are. And, I used to kid Seaver, and, I faced him a lot because of Cincinnati, all those times with the Braves and the Giants. And so lots of the bats, and I used to kid him after we got done, and I'd walk up to him and go, yeah, I pretty much owned you. And he goes, oh, yeah, we had our battles, didn't we? So, you kind of feel like a part of that. And at the same time, they're looking over at you sometimes in the on-deck circle after a while, So
that's right.
When I first started out, I'm hitting in front of Hank Aaron, so they were worried about him in the on-deck circle. And then, then after a while, it's like, they pitch you different. They got to find a different way to get you out. Mm-hmm. And at those guys, especially, all good friends and everybody else, and look back and be able to compete and do pretty well against the best of all time. So you join that, like I said, you just kind of join that club. And after a while, it's okay, let's see who's the best guy today. And gosh, I would have never thought that would ever been, but I got that kind of stature, and had a lot of fun with it. So that was my job: either hit the ball at the ballpark or get on base for Hank Aaron. So,
right. Well, the funny thing about that is, Darrell, everyone's going to try to somehow find a way to pitch around Hank, but they had to find a way to pitch around 2 guys back to back, because you were hitting home runs left, right, and center. And oh, by the way, you got Hammer and Hank right behind you. So it automatically puts the opposing pitcher behind the 8 ball.
Well, it's kind of like, with the playoffs now. And, the lineups probably, I don't know if there's the 8 best lineups in baseball, but probably so. Because there's several guys on the team, and the Braves now especially, and, the Dodgers, almost all the whole lineups, they go, the Braves go 7, 8 deep pretty much. It could take you out of the yard. So that's exhausting for the pitchers, because they don't have as many holes or a confidence and go, okay, this next guy up can't hit me out of the ballpark. But when you got 6 or 7, 8 guys, and I was fortunate to be in those kind of a lineup. So you're right. And certain guys you do better against than other guys. And you realize that, and you get in the box and look them out there in the eye, and you're going, hey, you better worry about something going on here. So that's a fun thing.
Well, what really stands out to me are 3 of these pitchers that I named, and actually there's 4 of them that I just see right off the list. And of course, I think about that knuckleball. It's hard as hell to hit a knuckleball in the first place, right, from Phil Niekro. Then you got Blyleven's ridiculous curveball. You got to hope that he hangs the curveball. You got Carlton with good old Uncle Charlie with that enormous curveball, right? And then you got lightning fast J.R. Richard the guy threw 100 miles an hour with Nolan Ryan and Mike Scott before all these guys in today's game are throwing this. I mean, you took Bob Gibson out 3 times, but we think about it's not like you're just sitting on one pitcher with one type of pitch. I mean, these are guys that throw all kinds of stuff. They'll throw everything but the kitchen sink at you. Take 30 seconds to talk about that.
Well, that's the knowledge that you have to get by experience. So when you first face them, they have the reputation. You can watch from the side and go, okay, well, J.R. Richard, Nolan's throwing 104, 5, whatever it is. But until you get up there and realize it, and then it becomes more of how much movement. And the knuckleball you were talking about, the field didn't know where it was going. So you gotta be patient. But the way I learned how to hit him, and from Hank and Eddie Matthews and all those guys that helped me, was no matter what they're throwing, they got to throw it where I can hit it.
That's right.
And so
all right, hold
I wanted to
Darrell,
learn that from Ted Williams and be patient.
Hold that thought. When we come back, I want to come back with that because that's a really important point, especially in today's game. Back here with the great Darrell Evans in just a few moments, right here on the Sports Circus. Lots more to come. You don't want to miss this one, folks. Stick around. I'm your Ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime, nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it out here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Fellow conservatives out there, call American Tax Relief. They can help you pay less to the IRS. Don't you give a penny more to spend to the left-wing agendas. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes or haven't filed your taxes in years, call my friends at American Tax Relief. They'll give you a 100% free introduction to their program, and trust me, they're on the right side of your freedom.
Darrell, turn your camera on.
800-958-2157. 800-958-2157. That's 800-958-2157. Paid for by the Tax Doctor.
The old way of living with diabetes is a pain. You've got to remember to do your testing and always need to stick your fingers to test your blood sugar. The new way to live your life with diabetes is with a continuous glucose monitor. Apply a discrete sensor on your body, and it continuously monitors your glucose levels, helping you spend more time in range and freeing you from painful finger sticks. If you are living with type 1 or type 2 diabetes and you use insulin or have had hypoglycemic events, you might be eligible for a CGM through your insurance benefits. U.S. Med partners with over 500 private insurance companies and Medicare. We offer free shipping, 90-day supplies, and we bill your insurance. Call us today for a free benefits check.
800-659-7805. That's 800-659-7805.
Hey, this is Josie Scott from Josie Scott's Saliva, and you're listening to the Sports Circus with Sal Tuzzolino.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP.TV. Folks, make sure you check out Josie Scott's Saliva. You heard an intro on the intro into this segment. Just Google Josie Scott's Saliva. The songs Click, Click, Boom, all those hit machines. Saliva's been a hit machine for 20-odd years. Check them out. We've already had Josie on the show. We're going to bring Josie back As a matter of fact, we have some surprises for you we can't tell you about just now, but just check them out. Go to Facebook or anywhere on social media. Josie Scott's Saliva, a personal favorite. Make sure you check them out, folks. They're on tour all over the country. And tell them, of course, the circus sent you. We get nothing for saying that. It's just something I like to do. I like to help everybody out. All right. Welcome back to everybody on TV and radio. Everybody streaming, thanks for joining us. Whether you're listening in on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Wow Cable Television, Oceanic, Time Warner, you're watching there, or on CBS, NBC, or Fox, or our independent affiliates on radio, thanks for joining us. On TV and hotels and 500,000 rooms, thanks for joining us. We are here with World Series champion, 40-year baseball veteran, that would be the great Darrell Evans, 414 home runs, and a World Series, that'd be the 1984 World Series champion Detroit Tigers. What an exciting team. And of course, I'm going to digress a minute just because, again, Darrell, pop on your camera so everybody can see your face. And this was the same team with, of course, Darrell Evans at third base, and you had Whitaker and Trammell. Boy, what an incredible double play combination. And I want to spend just a moment talking about Trammell and Whitaker, because in the grand scheme of things, in that double play combination, frankly, I don't know of a better combination out there. I really don't. In the last 50 years, there might be others that competed, whatever. But I thought that Trammell and Whitaker were about two of the best. And of course, you had Yount and Molitor with the Milwaukee Brewers. But I think Trammell and Whitaker were probably arguably the two best I've ever seen. What do you think, Darrell?
Oh, I think there's no doubt they're up there. Whatever, if they're not the best, I don't know who was. Not just in the last 50 years, but forever. I mean, individually, if you put up their stats, and obviously Tram's in there now, I mean, he should have been right away. But, you know, when they retired, I mean, they played together, too. You know, all those years, it wasn't, you know, got traded enough. They came up together the same day and played, I don't know, what was it, 19, 20 years. And they were all-stars every year. And Lou led off and Tram at second. And the rest of us, me and Lance Parrish and Gibson, I mean, they were always on base for us, or else they'd hit home runs and all that kind of stuff. They were Gold Glove players too. They were the best. And it's just a shame that when they put Tram in, they should have had Lou and Tram, and hopefully Lou makes it. I mean, if you look at their individual numbers, especially Lou, a second baseman, it's hard to find anybody ever better than him. He's got Joe Morgan numbers, and the only thing Joe, I think, has ahead of him was stolen bases. So, you know, but, you know, you play in Detroit, so you're not getting seen all the time. But then in the 80s, when we were so good and we were in the playoffs a couple of times and close every single year, people finally realized how good they were. But like you said, at the same time they were playing, you know, the Mulder, and then Trammell had, you know, the shortstops, talked about this the other day, shortstops weren't supposed to hit until you got Ripken and Yount and Trammell and all these guys came in, and all of a sudden they're hitting in the middle of the lineup. And the same thing with second base. And Lou and Tram were the guys that, man, you had to face them start off the game. And that was a tough, that was great for us, obviously, and that's why we won so much. So, yeah, and you know, in the 84 team, Howard Johnson played third base during the season most of the time, then got traded to the Mets, and and became a superstar. And I played first and third, and then we had Lance Parrish behind the plate. Right. And Chet Lemon in center, and Gibson in right, and Larry Herndon and Johnny Grubb. And Rupert Jones, and you know, we just had an all-star. Every guy on our team was on the all-star team.
There's a lot of speed on that team.
But we were in that division where the six best teams in baseball were all in the American League East at the time, with the Yankees, Brewers, Orioles, us, Toronto, and Red Sox, and then we won again in '87. So there were six different teams. Right. And we had to win 100 games. We knew to even have a chance. And we were playing each other, not like it is now. You know, we played the last month. We all played against each other. And I think every team, I don't know, probably every one of those six teams had 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 Hall of Famers on those teams. So it was talk about playing against the ultimate every single day. And Cleveland was good then too. Before Cleveland was on our division, and they kind of had no chance. So, I got to play with these guys and see how good they are. And when you see, the only way you can kind of judge is if you get to see them play every day and the impact that they have. So it was incredible. And unfortunately, not unfortunately, but Lou should be in there too. And not many teams can say they got those two guys up the middle like that.
Yeah, I mean the talent was unbelievable. But all right, so in the last segment, we're talking a little bit about you facing knuckleballers, guys that threw the big Uncle Charlie, the big curveballs and whatnot. And you were talking about hitting, because I asked you about I had mentioned, you had the ability to hit the great fastballs, the great knuckleballs, the great curveballs. At the end of the day, the pitcher's got to come into you. The pitcher's got to throw the ball over the plate at some point. You can't avoid everybody. So you got to get somebody out. So talk about your approach to hitting a knuckleballer versus a big curveball versus a great fastball.
Well, fortunately, we didn't have too many. Charlie Huff, Tom Candiotti, and Necro brothers. But they were all different because their knuckleballs all did different kind of things. Like I said, playing with Phil for 7 years, and then facing him, and we talked about that. He goes, "I couldn't get you out." I was like, "Well, I'm glad you thought that. You got me out a lot of times." But by seeing that pitch more often, his ball, right-hander, would move twice before it got into the strike zone. And then if it moved the third time, nobody hit it. But when he wasn't, some of them, not all of them were great. So I kind of faced him, think of him as like a right-handed slow curveball. That's right. Because he threw all knuckleballs. Joe didn't throw all knuckleballs. The other guys, Charlie Huff did. So, and more is the speed and change of speeds is how you get major league hitters out.
Right.
It's not velocity. It's how you change speeds on what you throw, because they're so good that once they see you they know how your breaking ball breaks, how much it breaks, where it's got to start to be a
right.
But you mentioned just you got to throw it at a plate. No, they don't. If they throw it on the corner and it's not two strikes, I'm taking it.
Right.
I mean, that's what I was taught.
But the pitcher's got to come in at some point. So everybody on TV, you can see.
He's got to throw it in my hitting zone.
Right.
Not the strike zone.
Yeah. You got that right. They got to come into you. That's what I meant.
Watch all the games tonight. Most of the time, they got themselves out because the pitcher made a good pitch and they swung at it. And major league hitters are good enough. When I teach and I talk to kids and everybody else, when you swing the bat, when you become good, every time you swing the bat, you're probably going to put in play. Mm-hmm. So if you don't wait to get the pitch that you like to hit, then you're going to make a lot more outs than you should.
Right.
And so I got enough to get a reputation for taking close pitches, all that, because they weren't really close pitches, because 1 inch off the plate isn't close to me, and 1 inch on the plate is a ball I'm probably not going to hit good. But the other 12 inches in the middle of the plate and from my knees to my waist, that's where I'm looking for the ball, no matter what it is. And of course, the balls that move a lot, the breaking balls and the knuckleballs, until you get a guy like Bruce Sutter, who threw the split or whatever it was a different one.
Right.
But I didn't get to face him twice a year because he was in the other division.
Right.
And you don't get to see what it is. But after I faced him 6 or 7 times, then I felt comfortable enough to go, okay, this ball, when he throws it and it gets halfway to the plate, when we don't recognize it till then, it's got to be in this place for it to end up to be where I can hit it good.
That's right.
So that's the progression of experience. And, the guys that can run, they have a little bit of advantage because they get a couple more hits a week or another hit a week that they don't hit the ball hard.
Right.
But somebody, I was expected to hit the ball hard. And so, like I said, if the more I got ahead in the count, the more I got fastball. And they had to finally throw me a fastball, and I was good at not being late.
I want you to hold that thought because here we are at just about the end of the segment. Again, look, Darrell, we could do this for 3 hours a day and never say the same thing over and over because there's so much to cover. You know, when you take a guy like Necro, I mean, he threw his knuckleball like this. Me, I actually threw it like this. And I would just push the ball. And I found that this was the easy way to do it for me, so I would get no spin on the ball. Right? That's it. And hopefully the ball would be dancing just a touch. But at the end of the day, a guy like you can see that pitch. And again, on that third move, leave it alone, right? Back here in a few minutes with Darrell Evans, World Series champion, in just a few minutes on the Circus. Last segment coming up. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come.
Can't beat fun at the old ballpark, friends. High pop fly. That would be a home run in a phone booth. I don't know what the big deal about Cracker Jack is. Did you ever go and buy a pack of Cracker Jack thinking you'd get a prize and find no prize in the box? Here's the pitch. That might not sound important to some people, but when you're a little kid, especially from humble origin, and they cheat you out of a prize, there's a bouncing ball. Second baseman has a Barbary over to first. It's hard to think in laudatory terms of the product.
I think if there was an occasional box of Cracker Jacks that found no prizes for the little Harry Carey many years ago.
You got that right. And boy, when a box of Cracker Jack to me meant a lot of money. Here's a pitch, bounce foul. That's the most asinine marketing I've ever heard of. 1 ball, 1 strike. These guys say, well, you sing about Cracker Jack. I said that I only sing it because it's in the song. Here's a pitch foul back. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised, even to this day, some youngsters who buy a box of Cracker Jack don't find a prize in the box. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out. Well, if you're going to talk about our congressman being crooked, here's a pitch foul out of play. Why not talk about commercial products who don't do what they represent to do? They told me when they hired me it was a temporary job. Born and raised in St. Louis, and you can imagine the Cardinals were my favorite team from the day I could remember. And all of a sudden, the miracle of life, I'm broadcasting Card games. I own the town and broadcast them for 25 years, and I thought they're going to give me a gold watch, and they gave me a pink slip. Then I went out to work for Charlie Finley for a year, and that's par for the course. Came to Chicago, and I was with the White Sox 11 years, and now with the Cubs. Never missed a game, never missed a time at bat, never missed a half inning that I was supposed to do. You know, Chicago is such a marvelous city. Hey, we got some Chicago people. You know, you never succeed in this business until you've had the experience of working with a terrible hangover. Not until you've been able to come through with flying colors under those circumstances can you consider yourself a professional. Lord knows, I've had more than my share of hangovers.
There's a drive, way back. It might be, it could be, and it is. Holy cow! This crowd is wild.
Hello, Jack McDowell here, Black Jack McDowell, and you're watching the Sports Circus, which is totally cool. So you have a great time watching. Have some fun.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP TV. You know what, folks? We always say this segment's brought to you by this or by that. Maybe this segment this time is going to be brought to you by maybe a family member, or we're going to let Darrell Evans, our guest analyst and our baseball insider, talk a little bit about I think it's a hitting academy, don't you, Darrell? Is that what it is over in California?
Well, I don't have it any longer. My son has it in the Anaheim, Southern Huntington Beach area.
All right,
and
talk about that.
It's he's had it for quite a few years with Denny Hawking, who he played 14 years with the Twins, and so they've got that going. In fact, they just had 3 kids sign or get drafted this year out of college, and they've got high school kids and everything else. So I live in Texas now, so I'm not out there to do it every day. But I'm so proud of him because he was a bat boy. He played and he got along and he's listened all the time and been around so many great hitters and everything. So it's he's got the same approach I got. We all got that, and I was just talking to him last night and talking about we teach kids not how to hit in Little League, not how to hit in high school. We teach them how to hit in the major leagues, or what the major leagues guys. So because, like you said, we used to do it. We were good. I was good when I was 12. I didn't need to learn how to hit when I was 12 years old. I already knew kind of how to hit. I just needed to have somebody help me with when I wasn't hitting good. Right. And so it's it's an advanced thing, not really, but it is. It's to get to the level that you need to get to and not deal with the stereotypes that we hear all the time at coaches' clinics and high school coaches. So most of them are limited in their knowledge, so they can't really help. And I remember back to, my family played. My mom and aunts played professional softball. 3 of my uncles played pro baseball. My grandfather did. So I was always around them. And I remember looking back now and going, when I was 12 years old, I was a better hitter than they were already. But they were there to help me and be encouraging. Right. But they weren't as technically detailed or understanding how it really works at the top. It's like being a doctor. I mean, you go to school and you keep doing it until you're better than everybody else, or you're supposed to be. And so that's what we do. That's what we teach. I know I'll be able to send something to you on where it's located and all that kind of thing. He's busy all the time, but we're always looking for somebody that we can help, the kids that we can help. So maybe we'll send the link or the address and all that kind of stuff, because I don't know it offhand right now. But that was a good thing to learn, because it was to be a teacher, and I was once you get a certain age as a coach or as a player, you're teaching all the other kids that are coming up. They want to know how you do it. They watch you. They ask you questions, and if they don't, you go volunteer and help them out. So you become a coach right away. And then when I was done, and then helping all ages and all types and all that kind of stuff. And, I get so much feedback from so many of the guys I coached. I just saw Ellis Burks and Larry Herndon, and, I was with the Rockies with all those guys, Galarrago and all those, they all were I had the Dodgers and Mike Piazza and Eric Karros and Raul Mondesi, and all those guys I helped to get to a higher level. They could already hit, but I taught them how we learned and what people gave to us to make us improve, and then to tell them, hey, this is how you got to do it. So what you were talking about was learning more that it doesn't matter who's pitching, how their ball moves, whatever. First of all, you got to be on time. I can't be late. There's no excuse for being late, and I hear that all the time. Oh, I'll take him the other way. It's not about that. When the ball's coming in the if you can't hit 95 inside, you can't be one of the best hitters. You can get to the big leagues maybe, but you're not going to be there for long. All those guys can do that, but the other guys can't, and they just have not been told. And now we tell them in high school, hey, we're going to teach you how to hit that pitch. Because if you can't, you're never going to make it. The breaking balls, you know what? Best way to hit a breaking ball is not swing at it. because the breaking balls they can't throw over the plate very often, and if they do, they're in that hitting zone.
Right.
And I don't want to practice on a ball down and away or off the plate. But see, in the games we see that all the time because what most of the players have been told their whole lives, hey, you can't strike out, so you got to swing at anything close. And the pitchers know that, and the more they know which guys are going to swing at anything because they're anxious, because they're been told their whole life, oh, you got to hit this ball, you can put it in play. Well, most people take it as, yeah, you mean the first strike? Oh, yeah, you've heard this all the time, too. It might be the best one you ever get. Well, if you swing at it, the first strike, it is going to be the best one you ever get because you can't. So if I take the first pitch because it's not where I want it to be, then I got a chance for him to throw the next one to where I want it to be. But if I put that first one in play, the best hitters in any league, anything, only get 1 out of 3 hits. So I'm going to make it out. The chance, I'm going to make it out 22 out of 3 times, no matter where the ball is and how I hit it. And as you go up and the defense gets better and all these guys catch balls that they don't catch anyplace else, you got to understand the only way you're going to be successful is to be patient. And I'm saying, but to make it to your hitting zone, not the strike zone.
Right.
Because, we come back and go, oh, it's too close to take. Well, so what? Well, if I was swung at it, going to hit it either. So it's a progression to learn that. And then when you get up there and, I sat next to the best hitter of all time, Hank Aaron. He preached that all the time because it was preached to him. But we don't hear that from our announcers because most of the announcers are pitchers. What do they know? They think that's what it is. They want you to swing at the balls that aren't down the middle, right where we're so. And the hitters that are, it's like, oh, he should have hit it this way. He should have hit it that way. At 95 miles an hour, you ain't trying to hit it anywhere. You're trying to hit it hard. And depending on where you hit it in relation to your body, you can't let it get even with you because you get to hit that in a dugout on the other side. You got to hit the ball in front of you a little bit, and the angle of the bat's going to make it go to whatever field it is. And when you do all this stuff perfectly, it goes to the pull side. That's why most hard hit balls go to the pull side. And everybody goes, oh man, what a good piece of hitting because he hit it the other way. Well, the pitchers stand out there going, thank you. Because it doesn't go over the fence very often.
That's right.
Pitchers want you to not hit it to pull side.
Correct.
But if you take a perfect swing and you're in perfect timing, the ball is going to go to the pull side. It's not a bad thing. It's like, you're pulling too many balls. You should use the whole field because the ball's a little bit away. Well, if the ball is a little bit away, it's a 17-inch plate. Down the middle is 8 inches from each corner. So I own that. I own 2/3 of that plate. If you throw it on the outside corner, it's going to be a lot harder for me to hit, especially if I swing at it. And the myth is, and if I swing at that pitch on the outside corner, I got to hit it the other way. Watch the games. Watch the game.
Right.
They hit that ball. They pull that ball sometimes. Sometimes they hit it the other way.
Sure.
That ball inside, they never hit it the other way. So it's a progression of understanding. And, then we hear the stuff about, wow, he's not big enough, strong. He can't do that. He can't do. I always talk about this too, the right-handed hitters. If you can run, why would you want to hit it to the right side?
Right.
If you hit it to the left side, you don't hit it. If you can run, where's the third baseman play you? They play you in. The shortstop plays you up the middle. All the holes are on the pull side. If you get that same ball in the back and the shortstop got a backhand and you can run, and then he doesn't make that play, it's a hit. You hit that same ball and the second baseman goes over and knocks it down, he's going to throw you out. So nobody goes up there. Nobody's that good. Sometimes you feel like it where it's like, oh, I can hit it where I want. Well, why in the hell would you want to hit it over there? That's where the pitchers want you to hit it.
You got that right.
See, so when you hear all this stuff, so you have to listen to all that, not just you, but I'm talking to people out here listening. You hear this on TV all the time, and you were taught that by whenever I ask kids especially all the time. Who taught you how to hit? Oh, my grandpa, my dad, my mom, I don't know, whatever. My uncle, my coach. And then when I goes, could they hit? And some of them go, oh, yeah. And I go, really? Well, I don't remember them being in a major league.
Right, I don't remember them being on the big league roster.
Well, right, of course. And then they go, then they back off kind of, and I go, see, you have to learn how to hit yourself.
Right.
It's not about what other people tell you. They can't stand up there and hit the ball that way and that way and that way. If they could, when's the last time we had a 400 hitter?
Right.
Well, if you could hit it where you wanted to, wouldn't you be hit? How come you weren't hit 500, 600? I used to tell Joe Morgan. He goes, Joe Morgan, oh, yeah, I can see the ball, the pitcher's hand. And I go, well, how come you're not hitting 400 then?
The only time people can hit the ball where they want to is if they're sitting in a batting cage and they know what's coming. Sure, I'll hit it to the left side or to the right side. That doesn't mean crap.
Well, yeah, but what? So what? Is it a hit?
That's right. It means nothing.
That's the other thing. When you're in a batting cage,
it means nothing.
They want you to hit up the middle and all that down and all that. If you go out on the field and do the same thing, you're out.
Right. That's correct. Yeah, so none of that means anything. Either you've got the talent or you don't.
Out.
You better find a way to develop it.
Out.
Right. Better find a way to develop. Hey, listen, Darrell, we are running on the clock here, and I just wanted to thank you for coming on again. Of course, we're going to finish this up. We're going to talk more baseball playoffs as they continue. So far, those Arizona Diamondbacks are a real handful for anybody that plays them. Look out for those guys. And, of course, I say look out in the longer run. Look out for those Orioles. Those Orioles can really give a problem to another club. But still, the road through the World Series travels through Atlanta. In my opinion, what do you got? Take 5 seconds. Hurry up. We're getting out of here.
Well, if you're trying, I'm not picking anybody because every team can win.
Every team can win.
Baseball. In any other sport, yeah, the prohibitive favor wins 90% of the time. Baseball. The best teams only win 60% of the time.
That's right. All right, so we'll come back and we'll talk about that next time. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Oh, a big hello to our friends Robbie Wells for watching and loyal listener Lisa and even Heidi. Heidi, who sang the national anthem for a real big country music event. Thanks for joining. Check Heidi Merrill out on YouTube. Go ahead, check it out. Anyway, we're out of here, folks. We're out of time. We'll see you next time right here on the Sports Circus. Until then, so long, everyone.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UpperCutChops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at UpperCutChops.com.
Hey everyone, this is Darrell Evans, 1984 world champion, Detroit Tigers, 2-time All-Star, 21-year Major League veteran, and my favorite show is Circus with Big Sal. So you got to come back and watch us because we'll be on here again.
It's the Sports Circus. That's okay. Try to keep it short and just whatever. Yeah, okay. So this way I could put it in there. Ready? Go.
This is Darrell Evans, 1984 world champion Detroit Tigers. Watch it. Not as good as a commercial, that's for sure. Okay. This is Darrell Evans, 1984 world champion Detroit Tigers. And my favorite show to be on is the Sports Circus with Big Al. So come back and see us soon.
Big Al?
Big Al. I'm old, man.
I know. I'm old too.
Do it again?
Yeah, I can't go by Al.
Okay. Boy, you've been called different than that, I know. Okay, ready? This is Darrell Evans, 1984 world champion, Detroit Tigers. My favorite show to be on is the Sports Circus with Big Sal. Come back and see us again soon.